It is episode 181 of Dude and a Monkey. My name is Ian Loring, and as always, I am joined by
Mark Foster. Hello, everybody.
This week, we are getting to a library fast as we take on the Da Vinci trilogy, the
Robert Langdon
saga.
Yes.
So we're going to be essentially doing retro reviews of the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons before a review of the latest installment, Inferno. We've also got some Twitter questions and stuff like that, but that will primarily be the focus. Mark, anything on your mind that you want to express?
Nothing that probably isn't liable.
Okay, interesting.
The whole rhetoric that's come out in the wake of the Ched Evans bullshit has kind of left, I think, a nasty taste in the mouth of British males who aren't dickheads, and football fans who aren't dickheads, and people who use Twitter who aren't dickheads. And fathers who look at it and go, oh my god, my daughter's surrounded by dickheads. So, yeah, there's that. When you look at a post written by one of the fucking Rizzle Kicks and you think, do you know what? That guy could come round to my house and have dinner. He seems nice. In comparison to, this horrendous walking fucking mess that is Ched Evans, that seems to have loopholed his way through the judicial system to clear his name of something that he may or may not have actually done, but doesn't stop what he actually did from being disgusting and absolutely reprehensible, despite the fact that now people are going, ha, you see, we told you he was innocent. Technically he's innocent. It doesn't stop him from being a fucking arsehole. And and so there's that as kind of, just every time I seem to go on Twitter now, I seem to look at it and think, do you know what happened when we used to just talk about like movies and funny things? Yeah,
everybody's got to have an opinion about something.
Yeah, it's I kind of hope that at the end of 2016, the entire humanity could just go, can we draw a line under that? Can we just call that a blip? Can we say that it was a bad year for everyone?
Yeah, let's just have Clinton get the presidency and then just call the rest a write-off. Go into Christmas, have a good Christmas and New Year, and we'll just reset for 2017. Yeah,
I'll just go, can we just have that?
Yeah.
Because can we just pretend it didn't happen? Really?
Yeah.
Let's call it, void it. Just void it. Get a big fucking red stamp in all the things and void it. Anything you did, 2016, don't matter. Just take it away and throw it away like a missing fucking book.
Yeah, there you go. Let's not chat anymore about that. But
no, let's not, because we don't want to be liable.
No.
Because, his girlfriend might bribe people with £50,000. Oh, so I said bribe, I meant ask for information and offer £50,000 for it. That's weird, isn't it? Ringing an email in the same person 5 or 6 times to say, I've got £50,000 if you can find any more information. Oh, it's baffling.
Yeah. The man will be a footnote. You know what I mean? He
is. He absolutely will be. It's just, the appalling thing is there will be now some girl sat there thinking, yeah, I'm not gonna go through the idea of actually reporting this because of that. And that is sad and disgusting, the way that attitudes towards women in the past year have just decreased exponentially because of the actions of a few idiots.
Yeah.
It's frightening for people who are raising daughters, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to be quite the tyrannical father once Lottie gets old enough to be interested in boys and stuff like that. Because I know what I was like you know, in uni, I was like my first year at uni. Jesus fucking Christ, I was not, I was horrible. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But then I mean, it was only because I'd slimmed down quite a bit, and it was kind of like the first time I'd ever been attracted to girls, and I didn't. I mean, Christ, I didn't like do anything like Ched Evans or anything like that. It's just like I was maybe banging through girls a bit faster than you would deem socially responsible. Let's just
that I have no problem with.
you know, and it was. I mean, like it. I don't think any girl ever had a problem with that or anything. And Jesus Christ, God knows I got dumped off enough as well. So you know, hey. Yeah, I'm making myself sound guilty weirdly, and I'm not
I
meaning
don't think
to.
you are. I think everybody understands what you mean.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no. Like lock and key with Lottie, lock and key when she's older. Yeah. Well, let's. I don't think I have any trailers to talk about.
I think there's one you might want to talk
Oh,
about.
really? Jesus, remind me.
Rogue One.
Star Wars. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Of course.
I had two. We'll get to Rogue One in a second.
Yeah,
Have you watched the Army of One trailer?
The what? Sorry.
Have you watched the trailer for Army of One?
No.
Do you know what it's about?
No. Tell me.
Army of One is it's directed by the guy who directed Borat, but it is based on a true story, which is one of those loosely based on true stories. The story about Nick Cage as a fat balding man who has no purpose in life and believes that God is talking to him. God, by the way, is played by and voiced by Russell Brand, and he's asking him to travel to Pakistan and capture Osama bin Laden. So Nick Cage, speaking in a really strange voice, travels to Pakistan and tries to track down Osama bin Laden under the guidance of God, played by Russell Brand.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Yes, it's called Army of One. It's out on VOD in November, and I will be watching it.
Oh yeah, so I think I shall be as well. Very good.
Yeah, and the other one is the second trailer for Rogue One.
Yeah, I mean, I was already in. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think there's too much more to really say. It's just all right. Let's watch the film now, then. You know.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. Yeah, it's. Do you know what I am starting to like about it? The fact that it feels like what it is. It feels already from the trailers like it's a Star Wars movie, but it's not one of those Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
And the fact that you already get that from a trailer is quite nice. And also, there was some decidedly Kurosawa-esque shots in that trailer. The Mads Mikkelsen in a field and anything like that. That looks not a little bit. That looks very Kurosawa-y. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. It's a really nice cast. It's a fun idea of taking, like I say, it out of the Star Wars world, but still having it be that, and having it linked back. I'm just, it's interesting how it's going to play, really, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. It's
I think it's the most important Star Wars movie so far.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Like the reaction to this from the general public is going to be fascinating. Like, is it going to make as much as Episode 7? No, but how close is it going to get? You know,
it's got to make $1 billion, which is baffling. The fact that this movie has to make $1 billion, but the thing is, it probably will.
Yeah, even though it's interesting that, like, unlike Episode 7, like, everything else isn't kind of like it's not clearing a path for itself. It does feel like there are other films that are going like, yeah, we'll give it a go. Like the Passengers, the Jennifer Lawrence, Chris Pratt one. I think comes out in the US, maybe the UK as well, like the week after. You know, so and it, you know, again, kind of sci-fi as well. You know, and that's interesting. However, I mean, I don't know, the visuals are different, just the production design looks interesting. It's in a Star Wars world, but in different places. Ben Mendelsohn as who I think is going to be the main villain of the thing. I think Vader is in there, but he's not going to be central.
He's going to be like Mark Hamill in the what is it, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to have a couple of shots, I reckon.
I don't know. I think we're gonna have some stuff between him and Ben Mendelsohn. You know, but I think it might just stay there. I don't think Vader's going to get directly involved. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, the new poster that came out last week as well, with like Vader kind of like faded in the background in the top right, is awesome as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm a little wary about the amount of new characters we have here and who's going to get like prominence. And are you going to have characters you're thinking, I wish I had a bit more of them? And it does feel like this will be a standalone one in the end of the day. We know where this leads. We absolutely know where this one leads. And, you know, if these characters like weren't mentioned in Empire and Return of the Jedi, then how important are they going to be going forward? I mean, I would love it if it is just a standalone story. It's just 2 hours with this lot and you're done. I wonder how up for that Disney are, though, because, you know, you got Felicity Jones, who is like quite an in-demand actress at the moment. You know, she's Oscar nominated. She's a definite and up-and-comer.
Yeah, she's a movie star in the fucking waiting, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like Alicia Vikander kind of stole her place in the queue, but Felicity Jones is still in the queue. You know, so I'm very, very interested. I obviously am interested. It's a week before Christmas. I think I've already said before, if we get a Star Wars film every year until every Christmas until the day I die, then cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm happy if it becomes a Christmas tradition. Yeah,
straight up, you know, and yeah, long may it continue. Hope it's good. I mean, Gareth Edwards, bit of a let's see how this goes, and you know, the reports of reshoots and stuff is a little troubling, but we shall see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, reshoots would normally, like you say, set up a lot of alarm bells. But I think the fact is that with this, with these films, there's so many balls up in the air at the same time. So while this is going on, something else is already going on. That something else is already going on. It could be that they've gone, do you know what? Do you know what the problem is? What we've just changed this bit a little bit. So could you just go back and just change that bit? Or we like that, we're just wanting to put that there, so could you just move that to there?
Well, it's a tonal thing, apparently. Like, Disney...
that is worrying them.
Yeah. After the success of The Force Awakens, Disney's lesson from that was basically, oh yeah, you know, you were saying before that you wanted Rogue One to be like a war film and be like a standalone genre piece. Make it more like The Force Awakens. Make it more straight up family friendly. Have some more comedic stuff in there. And, you know, really? Because the tone of that first trailer is not that at all.
Yeah, that's mildly worrying, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally, we'll see. Obviously, I'm up for it, and, yeah, good shit.
Cool.
So, I'm actually going to propose that we do a little bit of what we watched before we get into the Dan Brown stuff, because I've only got 2 things to talk about anyway.
That's cool, yeah, I've only got a couple anyway.
Yeah, because I re-bought the Xbox. By the way, when I edited the show, I put in a little thing, like, when I said that I don't have a games console at the moment, I was like, editor's note, I got an Xbox One S 3 days later, you know, so, but yeah, so I quite a bit of time's been taken up by Battlefield 1 and Gears of War 4. I've just got to say, I've never played a Gears of War game before. Gears of War 4 is like the start of a new story in it, so it felt like an appropriate place to go. Looks really good. HDR is very cool with games. There's only 2 games on Xbox One at the moment that do HDR. It's that and Forza Horizon 3. But when there are explosions, holy shit, it looks amazing.
I bet it does, yeah.
So yeah, no, but yeah, I'll be through that in the next few days. I'm only buying it for the campaign, then I'm selling it. Battlefield 1 looks fucking amazing. It's kind of like that. It's intense. It's really, really intense. Like the prologue of the single player is basically you get a screen saying you are expected to die, and then you're playing, and basically you die, and then the screen goes black, and it comes up with the character's name and the years of like birth and death, and then it switches to another person on the same battlefield, and it's the same. It's just you're just trying to survive for as long as possible, then you die, and it does that like 8 or 9 times. It's like, what the fuck? And then and then there's like a something happens that actually kicks in. It's quite an interesting thing. Apparently, in the first proper mission, you play as a carrier pigeon at one point, which sounds like it could be awesome or terrible. But I'm very much enjoying that as well. But anyway, 2 things I watched: Ghostbusters Extended Edition.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, so I watched it with Donna. Donna said, I'm enjoying this, but women don't speak like this to each other. And yeah, maybe that's a point. You know, like I mean, it was co-written by a woman, but like the extended edition does kind of feel like it's got a lot of additional.
There's a whole new character in it.
Yeah, the boyfriend.
The boyfriend. Yeah.
And so I don't know. The kind of it does rear up the more lowbrow stuff a bit more.
It does a little bit, yes.
And
I watched it with Bex.
Works. Yeah, go on.
I watched it with Bex, and at the end of it, she said, that's annoying. I said, what? He said, well, the fact that we're probably not going to get a sequel because that was really fucking good. And she was one of those where she watched the trailer and went, don't get it. Don't appeal to me at all. But yeah, I still think it holds up really, really well.
Yeah, same. I mean, the extended one is 2 hours 15, which is quite long. And to be fair, we did not need that boyfriend character at all in the slightest, and then that would have shaved off like 5 minutes straight away. I mean, it was worth it for one moment where there's a scene where Kristen Wiig's talking to him, and Leslie Jones and Melissa McCarthy it's either Melissa McCarthy or Kate McKinnon, I can't remember, but Leslie Jones is there. And the other one says something, and she genuinely looks like she breaks. There's like
yeah, I can't remember what it is she says, but yeah, she does look like she's
like they cut and she just pissed herself. Like which is awesome. I mean, it's fun and it's natural. But yeah, I'm annoyed that we're not going to get a sequel as well. It just didn't do well enough, and the thing is, I mean, releasing it when they did was probably not a great idea. Like, if they'd brought it out now, or like in March or April, it would have been fine.
Yeah, but they July'd it, didn't they? They went for big fucking summer.
Straight up summer blockbuster, and it's that cast. I feel like that cast is maybe more well liked in the industry than it is by the public.
Well, let's be honest. Out of that cast, out of your main 5 actors out of it, I don't think there's that many people outside of the States generally that know who Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones are.
I think there's a lot of people who don't really know who Kristen Wiig is, to be fair, outside of Bridesmaids,
That, yeah. So, the most recognisable stars in there are Melissa McCarthy and Chris Hemsworth, without question.
And Melissa McCarthy is kind of playing against type.
Yeah.
She's one of the more quiet ones, I mean, like, the really comedic character in that lineup. Characters are Chris Hemsworth and Kate McKinnon, really. I mean, Leslie Jones certainly has her moments, but Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy are actually keeping it pretty low-key.
Yeah, and like I say, it is more Hemsworth and McKinnon. Hemsworth's brilliant thing of when anything's loud, he grabs his eyes. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Donna fucking loved that. Mike Hart as well was just inspired.
Yeah, which probably he just came up with.
Yeah, so I heard, which is incredible. So yeah, I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame.
It is a crying shame. You do. I bought it in the hope that me having gone to see it in the cinema and bought it on digital download will kind of make them go, do you know what? A lot of people bought it on download and shitloads of people are watching it on Netflix. When it comes on Netflix, that might make them go, fuck it, go on then, because the merch sold loads and all this lot. But as Beager said, he'd come out and said, not I think a week ago, said, there's been no movement on a sequel at all. We're all there to do it if we can, but I think they're just waiting on how it does on home digital.
Yeah. I mean, not being able to release in China because it's about the paranormal was obviously a problem as well. Considering like the market that is now. But yeah, so Ghostbusters, and I watched The Greasy Strangler.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Yeah, which I think played at like Sundance, and it actually had a Fantastic Fest logo at the start, and it's produced by that Tim League guy, and Elijah Wood, I think. Also executive produced by Ben Wheatley, which is weird. Story is father and son, Ronnie and Braden. They do walking tours about famous locations in disco history. On one of the tours, there's a girl who Braden takes a liking to. Ronnie does as well, Ronnie the father, but Braden and the girl, who I cannot remember her name, sorry, they start a relationship. All the while, a series of greasy stranglings are taking place, where a monstrous figure covered in grease is going around strangling people. The Greasy Strangler is Ronnie, that's not a spoiler. And through the film you get very, very silly practical effects kills, fake full frontal nudity which makes you feel ill, a soundtrack which is kind of nails on chalkboard, and a general feeling of I feel a little bit ill watching this. Saying that, I found a lot of it fucking hilarious. There's I mean, for those who have seen it, the free drinks scene towards the start of the film, I had to pause it because I was laughing so much. The actors, it's basically, it does feel like it's amateurs acting, and fair play, because you kind of have to wonder what serious actor would look at this and actually go, yeah, do that, So it's despite everything, I still didn't see the last 5-10 minutes coming. It kind of has to be seen, but you'll probably want to have a wash after. Which I'm sure is the effect, 100%. I think the director, Jim Hoskin, I think his name is, he's done what he set out to do. I'm not sure I'm ever interested in watching anything he or anyone really involved with the film does ever again, frankly. But I am kind of glad it exists. I describe it on Letterboxd as John Waters' Napoleon Dynamite if Waters was having erotic dreams about a George Foreman grill and the grease tray.
Yes, you did, yeah.
Make of that what you will. It's fascinating. I can't wait to hear what you think.
I'll be watching it at some point this week.
Yeah, it's on iTunes. It's like £4.50 to rent on iTunes. Don't fucking buy it. Jesus Christ, don't buy it. But
because I'm never gonna watch it again.
Yeah, I'm glad it exists. It's between this and Swiss Army Man, I definitely preferred Swiss Army Man. But having these two films out there is weirdly comforting to my cinematic soul. So that's something at least. But yeah, I mean, it's fucking gross. Anyway, Mark, yes. What else have you watched?
Yeah, only a couple to have for mine before we enter the Langdonathon. I watched the 2003 film The Core.
Oh shit! Okay.
Rewatched that. Yeah, starring Aaron Eckhart, Hilary Swank, Delroy Lindo, Stanley Tucci, DJ Quails, Bruce Greenwood, and a whole host of kind of like, that's that guy who's in that thing. A lot of those. It's. I mean, this was like a big kind of like. It's one of the sort of March blockbuster type movies that came out. So the story for The Core, that anyone who hasn't seen that doesn't know, essentially Aaron Eckhart plays a scientist who discovers that there's all these sort of anomalies happening across the globe, and works out that the reason why all these anomalies are happening is because the magnetic poles of the Earth are being thrown out of whack because the molten core in the centre of the Earth has stopped spinning, essentially. So he takes these findings to Stanley Tucci, who is also a renowned scientist, but renowned scientist who works with the government, and they take it to all the governments of the world and say, look, essentially within a year or within 2 years, I think it might be, there will be no planet because of all these science things. So they tunnel down into the Earth to get to the Earth's core, to blow it up, to potentially to jumpstart it. And that's what happens. I mean, this was made in 2003. And the effects, we watched it, and there's a certain effect where it shows you Hilary Swank and Bruce Greenwood when they're on a spaceship, essentially is the best word to describe it, a space rocket or whatever it is, in space, and Beck said, oh my god, that looks like a shitty screensaver. Which is quite true, it did look like a shitty screensaver. And this movie wasn't cheap, you know, it was like $90 million in 2003. But yeah, the effects haven't aged well at all. Which kind of does take you out of the story, which is already a little bit kind of meh at points. So yeah, I'd say it was a fun rewatch to go back and rewatch it, but it's 2.5 hours long. So it kind of... Yeah, if it had been like an hour and 45, maybe, but it isn't. It's, you know, it's 2.5 hours long, so I was a bit during it. But of course, it does contain unobtainium as well. The material that they then used in Avatar later on. That was So yeah, that's quite amusing hearing that mentioned. Sort of like 6 years before Avatar claimed that they kind of invented it. Despite the fact I think it was written about in a novel in like the turn of the century. So rewatched Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Because it happened to start when I sat down at one point and thought, I'll watch this for 10 minutes, and then an hour and a half later, it finished, and I went, that film's fucking great.
Nice, yes.
Yeah, but the weird thing was, always through it wasn't until it finished and it came up and said, directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, that I went, fuck, it was them two, of course it was. It's weird that was kind of like the start of what they did, and now look at what they're doing now. It's kind of weird to think that was the surprise hit that they had that gave them, the Jump Street movies and the Lego movies, and then are they doing the Han Solo movie? I think, are they doing?
Yes. Yeah.
Good. I thought, I was saying it, I thought, have I just completely fucking imagined that, or is that actually a thing that's happening? But yeah, it's so weird, that movie, but in a magnificent way.
Yeah. I don't know. It does ever so slightly feel like it's maybe more for the parents than it is for the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the bit where Andy Samberg's character kind of becomes the chicken is a hell of a thing.
Yeah, chicken Brent. Yeah, it's fucking weird, man. But it's fantastic that film is around. There's some great bits in it. And finally, I watched Internal Affairs, which I've not seen since VHS days. The Mike Figgis, Henry Dean written movie, starring Richard Gere and Andy Garcia. Where it's the sort of film where I watched it and I thought, this seems like the sort of thing that I would watch a lot, actually. Yeah. A crime thriller about dodgy cops set in LA, where you've got Richard Gere playing an arsehole cop who basically just intimidates people and fucks everyone's wives and stuff. And it was pretty good. It was very entertaining. But it is, again, it's 2.5 hours long. You shave off 20 minutes and I think people would still be watching this movie quite a lot now.
Yeah.
But you do feel yourself kind of going, come on, hurry up a little bit. And it's very low key in terms of its setting. It doesn't feel like the most polished of movies. It feels very kind of like feels very much like, I don't know, maybe it was a lot lower budget than they expected it to be, or it's purposely gone for a kind of that kind of aesthetic, but everything's kind of like dimly lit, and everything feels sort of smaller than you'd think it would be. If this film was around now, it would be directed by somebody like David Ayer or Anton Fuqua, something like that. And it might even still start fucking Richard Gere in some capacity. But you get the feeling it'd be a little bit more, it'd be a little bit bigger and less focused in on these certain things. But it was still quite entertaining to rewatch. But it could do with having a bit of that padding taken out of it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But that's it. That's all I've watched this week. And also the second part of season 1 of The Ranch came on Netflix, so I powered through that as well.
Oh yeah, you still enjoying it?
Yeah, it's great. It's a fun kind of family dynamic about a family that do love each other, but express it by constantly telling each other how much they fucking hate each other and getting drunk. It's fantastic. That's a lot of fun, and it's a good half an hour. And I think I always need like a half an hour show that I can go to.
Yeah, nice.
That I've now powered through and I've not got anymore.
No, it's from Friday. It's going to be all about the Black Mirror for me. I'm going to try and get through that as quickly as bloody possible. At least there's only 6 of them. So.
Actually, I've never watched any of those.
Oh mate, I tell you, I mean, like, not all of them work, but the Christmas special, which was like the last one they did, is like the darkest bloody thing. I mean, it's impressively grim.
I might have to give them all a go before getting on to this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, like, it looks like they got a bigger budget, and they've kind of got.
Well, Netflix have took over, haven't they?
Yeah, and they've gone to a kind of America with it as well. And I mean, like, one of them's directed by Joe Wright, and it's got Bryce Dallas Howard in it. So it's I don't know. They've got some interesting talent going on in there, so we'll see. I know Donna's already said she's not sure whether she has the stomach for it anymore. So not because it's gory or anything, just because it's fucking unsettling. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. All right, so the Robert Langdon saga. So 2006 is the Da Vinci Code. What version of this did you watch?
I think it was the extended.
Was it nearly 3 hours long?
I don't think so. There's a nearly 3 hours long version of it.
Yeah, 173 minutes.
Wow, you watched that? Yeah, that wasn't the version I watched this time, but I have watched that, I think.
Yeah, it took me 4 days. I started watching it on Tuesday, and I finished watching it on Friday. Yeah. So the Da Vinci Code 2006, based on the novel by Dan Brown, as these all are. Tom Hanks, Audrey Tautou, Ian McKellen, Alfred Molina. He's in this one, isn't he? Yeah. Paul Bettany.
Yes, he is.
Jean Reno. Interesting cast. Good cast.
Yeah.
And this book was the hot shit in the mid-noughties.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
I mean, it was really, really hotly anticipated. This. So, story is Tom Hanks is Robert Langdon, a historian, professor man who is giving a lecture in Paris and is told that someone he was due to have a meeting with has been killed. Jean Reno plays this French police chief who actually thinks that Langdon killed him. Langdon didn't. He was killed by Paul Bettany, who played Silas?
Silas.
Yeah. A kind of an albino self-flagellating monk who is in the kind of employ of Alfred Molina's corrupt priest, who is trying to prevent the discovery of something that will essentially ruin organised religion, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Da Vinci Code. I mean, Mark, what do you think?
The thing is, had you read the? Did you ever read the book, the Da Vinci Code?
I started, but I just it was no.
Yeah, I read it, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I read it in the setting that the book was written to be read in. I read it.
Nice.
Huh?
That's going to add a bit of flavour. Nice, yeah.
I read it on a sun lounger, and read it and went, that's entertaining enough. I got that amount of enjoyment out of it in drinking it in the sun, whilst drinking copious amounts of San Miguel. So yeah, that was what I got out of it, and I enjoyed it for those reasons. And to be honest, when the film came out, I wasn't one of those going, I can't wait for this to come out, because I was going, I can see how it could be a movie, but it just seems like it could be a pretty dull, they go from here to here to here to here to here to here to here movie. And that's kind of what the Da Vinci Code is. They do spend their time going from here to here to here to here to here. But you know what? I have fun with them going from here to here to here to here, and sort of sending you on a mini kind of beginner's guide to fucking conspiracy history, which is fun. It's a weird thing. I think that the within, especially for this one, because the reception this movie got sets the tone for the reception that the two movies we're going to talk about subsequently have kind of been carried forward from, in the fact that there is an awful lot of intellectual snobbery around the Da Vinci Code and the subsequent movies, since. And it's kind of a bit like, do you know what? Fuck off. It's kind of not for you. Film can be for everyone. This is a big budget. When was it released? I think it was released. It was a summer blockbuster, I believe. And people kind of enjoyed it. People enjoyed the idea of going to the cinema to see a Tom fucking Hanks movie where it's this kind of mystery, and there's a religious, occultish element to it, whilst also there's this wonderful, beautiful French lady in it. And then we've got Ian McKellen, he's in it as well, and Paul Bettany, isn't he a bastard? And all of these things and that are going on within it, and they're going on this journey. Yeah, it's silly, but it's still fun at points, and it's still interesting at points, and it's wacky listening to Ian McKellen going through this crazy kind of theorising that he's got about the Holy Grail actually being a womb rather than an actual cup, which is the religious perceived point. It throws up a lot of ideas, and yes, it tackles in a dumbfounded way the ideas that religion is, yes, a good thing for some people, but it's also a tool of hatred, violence, and oppression. And there's kind of all those things thrown together in a fucking Tom Hanks mystery movie. It's just weird, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, I don't.
And I'm not really. I'd love to say I'm ashamed to admit it, but I'm just not ashamed to admit it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'll say I think Angels and Demons is better, and I actually think that's got a more interesting debate going on in it.
Yeah, which we'll get to.
However, as a kind of trashy, with ideas way above its station, sort of blockbuster, I have some fun with it. The version I watched is insanely too long. I cannot imagine watching it in one sitting.
I think I have watched. I'm sure I've watched that version once.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what was added, to be honest with you, because I mean, like, literally the last time I saw Da Vinci Code was in the cinema. Even I've got to say, if it was a 12, which I think it was, I think maybe there was some extra flagellation. But I really, there's some really good production value shit to this. This looks expensive, and I enjoy that. I enjoy Tom Hanks and Audrey Tautou pottering around these places. It's kind of a hallmark of the series as a whole. Pottering around these places and, like, the filmmakers getting this access.
Yeah, and it does make you kind of, at points, go, I kind of like to visit that at some point, actually.
Straight up. I mean, like, the very end of the film, where Hanks is by himself, wherever the fuck he is, I can't even...
The Louvre.
The Louvre, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, the lighting is great, the music's stirring, the main Robert Langdon theme is lovely. I fucking love that theme.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer's scores for these movies are very good, I think. They fit the tone of that the movie's going for so well.
Yeah, no, totally. And I we'll get into it, but the scores of Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons are quite different from the score for Inferno, but I think that's apropos. But yeah, just watch it. It looks really good. High production value. The visualizations of history in this are really well done. The weird kind of like faded them walking around in the real world with the faded stuff going on around them, and it's all graded and stuff. That's a nice choice. I think Ron Howard has a good eye, you know, and I think they make, apart from the Ian McKellen lecture at 3:00 in the morning, yet somehow he's got an entire PowerPoint presentation sequence, I think they actually actively try to make the exposition entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
But the Ian McKellen one is just like idea, and it feels like it's about half an hour long.
Yeah, but I think even that, they kind of do explain it by the fact that he's done this
to entertain himself, totally,
and he's done it to whenever he has guests over, he can say, look, this is this. And you even get Tom Hanks, Langdon says to him, you know, can we do this without the parlour tricks and the theatrics? And yet he's like, no, give me my indulgences, which is basically going, I have spent fucking time learning how to use this shit, and I have developed this, my little fucking thing that explains all my crazy, how it's fine, you will allow me to do this because you are in my house.
Yeah, totally fair. I mean, does that make it good for a film? Maybe not.
No, it maybe doesn't, but it's still, I think it's fun within the setting of the movie.
Sure.
It gives you an idea of his of the depth of his obsession.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair. I mean, it just I don't know. I mean, like, the relationship between Hanks and Tautou is quite nice. I like that it's never romantic. I think that's a wise thing that they do with these films. Like, they pair him up with an obviously younger woman, but there's no sexual tension whatsoever, and that's deliberate. I like that. But the actual plot itself is bobbins. I mean, it's very silly. The ending where Sophie's grandmother just shows up, and it's like, what do all the people of this, like, secret society just live in the area?
There's girls who around that time in Scotland, yeah.
Yeah, just mental. But I'd forgotten that the kind of like the main action as such ends with a good 25-30 minutes of the film left to go, because then they go to that last place, and then and then Audrey Tautou drops out of it, but then Tom Hanks goes back to Paris. So I like that. I like how understated that stuff is, and it contrasts quite nicely with the albino monk assassin and grand church conspiracy. I like how it just chills out towards the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the thing is, it is utter nonsense, and I couldn't call it good, and I am touching cloth on it, because I don't think you can call it good. It's too self-indulgent, and silly, for me to call it a good film. But I would probably watch it again.
Well, I have watched it more than once, so so I can really admit to that. I mean, and because I've watched it more than once, and I've watched it more than twice, so I can absolutely say that I would be lying if I said that I thought it was anything but definitely not
Good
shit, because it's, for me, it's good kind of Sunday night winter fodder for me. It's that you can stick it on at 8:30 on a Sunday night and go from there, and that's where it's supposed to be pitched, and it's nice for that. You can kind of switch off and go, right, ease through it, and if you drift for 5 minutes while you're watching it, you can pretty much pick up back what's happened, and if you can't, fucking matter, really, does it? Because I've already moved on to something else. So yeah, that's what I said. I would be lying to myself and our loyal listeners if I said that I was the pitch as anything but definitely not shit.
Nice. Okay, so anything else on Da Vinci Code?
No. I think, like you say, I think there's more interesting stuff to talk about in the upcoming two. But what I will say is our poll went out for the Da Vinci Code. Definitely not shit, 33%. Touching cloth, 17%. No. And shit, 50%. Which, although that's shit 50%, that the touching cloth and definitely not shit being that high.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. Actually,
I'm surprised by that, and I'm comforted and warmed by it, though, I will say.
I will just say, I actually really like the character arc of Silas, like the fact that he is quite the tragic character.
He is. He's yeah.
Like his ending, like the realization when he's in that house and he's set up. And Alfred Molina's reaction as well. I like the fact that there is actually warmth between those two characters, and Alfred Molina isn't just using him. Yes, he's using him, but he also cares about him. I don't know. I think that's more interesting than you'd expect it to be, because he's an albino assassin who self-flagellates. But
he's a fully committed Opus Dei member, which is in and of itself a madness. One really not interesting actually, vaguely. One kind of comical moment in the movie is when Silas shoots Alfred Molina's character, and he runs over, and then there's a member of the armed police forces comes down the steps and shouts armed police force, freeze. Silas turns around and shoots him in the leg. Now that is a British member of the police force getting shot in the leg. Did you notice what his reaction was?
What?
He goes, ow! As he gets shot in the leg, he actually says, ow!
Okay, I didn't notice that.
which every time I watch it still makes me chuckle at the fact that he says not or anything like that. It's an audible ow to be shot in the leg.
Deary me.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So let's do 2009's Angels and Demons, which so again directed by Ron Howard. This time starring Hanks, Ewan McGregor, Armin Mueller-Stahl. Mine's gone blank.
Stellan
Skarsgård, totally. Good-looking Italian bearded man. Pier Francesco Favino, that's him. Alet Zura, and a bunch of Italians.
Yes, many Italians.
Yes. So, this time, a physicist at the Large Hadron Collider is killed, and some antimatter is taken. What's being done with this antimatter? Well, it's been hidden somewhere in a plot to by the Illuminati, or is it, to basically shit up the Catholic faith when the Pope dies and there's the conclave for the new Pope. Langdon is brought in to assist and is aided by McKenna, played by Ewan McGregor, the Pope's kind of right-hand man slash kind of like surrogate son, who also happens to know how to ride helicopters.
Yes, he does, doesn't he?
Yes. So, Angels and Demons. The extended edition was only 8 minutes longer than the theatrical version, so it was 2 hours 26, which was way more manageable, and it only took me 2 days to watch this one. So, yay. And what did you think?
I genuinely, I actually really quite like Angels and Demons. In a non kind of, I almost feel a little bit bad for liking it. I think it's a more interesting story than the Da Vinci Code. Partially, I think because it's not throwing you into all these different places. It's all set around one place, and you're working against time. Whereas the Da Vinci Code, although it is all set over a couple of days, there's no time restraints within it as such. They're not working against the clock, whereas within Angels and Demons, they're working against the clock, and the majority of it is all set in Vatican City. Also, as well, the whole Vatican City thing is a kind of it's a draw for me anyway. That idea, it's got some good performances. I think it's a tighter script, having David Kep on board writing for it, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad. But this time it's beneficial, I'll say, to certainly the movie. I think Hanks feels a little bit more bedded into the character. Not as confused by the character as he did in the Da Vinci Code, which is quite nice. And there's a little bit more, it takes away from the silliness and adds a little bit more kind of sort of sinister darkness to it, in terms of for what's going on. They're not trying to, whereas the last one was trying to bring down the church, this is trying to fucking bring up the church from the inside. It's quite an interesting concept for it. So yeah, I actually really quite like Angels and Demons, and there's some nice shots in it.
Yeah, I genuinely like this film. Again, it looks really nice. The historical stuff is quite interesting, but the conversations of science versus religion and how science and religion can work together, I actually thought was of interest. I think Hanks plays it really well. I like that he, he's maybe not particularly a man of God, but he respects those who are.
He works in that environment, doesn't he? In symbolism and things like that. Symbolism, obviously, if you trace it back with symbolism that still exists, it is largely to do with religion, as is history, because it was written by the religious. So he's got to work within it, so you're getting a feeling that he has a lot of kind of respect for it, but also as well, he's very much seems like he's going to play it nice, because then he can use it later.
Yeah, no, sure. Again, I mean, the thing is, I mean, there is silliness to be had here. The aforementioned Ewan McGregor helicopter stuff is stupid.
Yep.
I also love.
And the fact that nobody says, so we can fly a helicopter then?
Yeah.
Did not know that. Can't understand why a poor Irish priest who became the Camagelo would be able to fly a helicopter.
Actually, they give some exposition earlier on. He did relief flights.
Oh, of course he did. Yes, you're right, yeah. Still doesn't explain why.
No. But I love...
Just that bit. There's no time. I'll take it up alone. No, fuck off.
Yeah.
That makes less sense.
Yeah, no,
You've just been branded.
It's a fantastic idea. I also his reaction to like he walks into that room, all the the cardinals and whatnot all kind of like look at him. Nobody says a word, and what is his reaction? Shit, I'm rumbled. I better set myself on fire.
It's I'm rumbled. Leg it. Damn it, I can't get out. Ah, fuck it, why not?
Yeah,
But there is also as well, once he starts burning, you can almost hear him just go, I regret this straight away.
Yeah, like he's really, really in pain.
Yeah, this hurts. My faith, my overwhelming faith, just has not made this any easier.
Actually, weirdly, there's a Death in the Greasy Strangler that's actually a bit like that, where he's talking through it. Like, he's getting strangled, he's talking through it, and he kind of passes out at one point. He says, it's still happening, okay, I'm not dead yet, alright, I'm not dead. And then his last words are something like, oh man, this is fucking awesome. And then it just dies. Anyway, so that's again, I don't know, Ewan McGregor is an Irish priest. It was around that time where it kind of felt like Ewan McGregor was doing any old shit.
He absolutely was doing any old shit at this point.
He's eased up on that quite a bit of late. You know, like it seems like McGregor only kind of turns up if he actually wants to do something now. But yeah, I don't know. It's trashy. It's weirdly, it's quite the bridging film between Da Vinci Code and Inferno, where Da Vinci Code's kind of got none of the more pulpy kind of visceral stuff. The Paul Bettany aside, but that's only in moments. And then you got this, where it's like the guy's on fire and screaming and stuff like that. And then Inferno, which we will get to, which kind of revels in trying to be disturbing imagery at times.
Yeah, well, but the thing about Angels and Demons is Angels and Demons is it's like $150 million B movie almost.
Yeah.
In a real fucking random way that kind of is carried on with Inferno.
Yeah, I mean, Inferno really like takes that mantle. Fuck, let's get to Inferno. But I mean, like Stellan Skarsgård is the most. Oh, I'm a little bit suspicious right from the start, so I'm obviously not the bad guy character.
You don't cast Stellan Skarsgård and get anything but that, do you?
It's either he's playing nice and it turns out he's the bad guy, or he's playing bad and he turns out to be the good guy. Yeah. It's the inverse of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, this.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, it's what Stellan Skarsgård does, bless him. Alet Zura kind of brings nothing to it, I think that's fair to say.
No. No, she isn't. She is the pretty and as smart as Robert Langdon woman who runs around kind of acting not quite as smart as Robert Langdon kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Audrey Tautou kind of in the same ballpark. I mean, they play with that with Inferno, so, you know, you know, again, very obviously, but, so there you go. I mean, like I say, like, it's pacier than the Da Vinci Code, thank fuck.
Well, yeah, that is one interesting thing. Is it's already sort of 15-20 minutes shorter than Da Vinci Code, standard versions. Anyway, so yeah, it's polished up, which does seem like a bit of the meandering that happened within the script of Da Vinci Code isn't there.
Yeah.
As much.
Yeah, no, quite. But yeah, I mean, Hans Zimmer's score is still solid as fuck. I mean, even little things like I really like the way that the logos at the start. It's almost like the kind of like the kind of the bokeh effect, I think they call it. On the what am I trying to say? Like where the Imagine Entertainment logo comes up and it's kind of like circular and almost like you're watching it through water or something, like rain or something. I really like that. And I mean, Hanks is entertaining, and he gets to push a bookcase over.
And it's cool again. It's incredibly polished in the sense that you've got, with the way that it looks, and it looks expensive, and you look at it and you go, fucking hell, that's the Vatican Library. And it isn't. It's an artist's impression of the Vatican Library. But it feels rich in it itself.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, definitely not shit.
Yeah, I'm equally. I'm definitely not sure. I genuinely do think it's a good kind of. Whereas the last one is a good sort of Sunday night film. This is more like it is essentially like a genre film, which is quite weird that it's 150 million pounds and stars Tom Hanks.
Yeah, no, totally.
But then again, he has form for it. But yeah, Angels and Demons, definitely not shit. 27%, so lower than the Da Vinci Code. Touching Cloth, 27%, so higher than the Da Vinci Code, and shit, 46%, so again lower than the Da Vinci Code. So people are more warm towards it, but not quite as impressed by it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I go as far as saying.
Inferno.
Inferno.
Here we go then. So costs half as much as Angels and Demons. Budget 75 million this time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
It is very interesting, yeah.
So, all spoilers all the time, because there is spoilery stuff to talk about. Yeah, go on.
This has got to make about $300 million to be a success.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah,
it will. It will, judging by the screen now. It'll be fine.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think they've kind of realised, right, this is 7 years since the last one. Dan Brown's not that much of a draw. Tom Hanks isn't as much of a draw as he used to be. Let's cut the budget here. And to be fair, I think you can tell. Maybe that's not a bad thing. So, Inferno, once again, Langdon this time wakes up in a hospital in Florence. Last thing he could remember, he was in Cambridge, I think. And now he's...
That's Cambridge, Massachusetts, not Cambridge. England, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And he's got a graze on his head, and he's suffering from short-term memory loss. And he's having visions of a kind of like an apocalyptic kind of scenario. Felicity Jones is his doctor, and they very quickly are running out of the hospital after an assassin tries to murder Langdon. Langdon finds a bio tube thing, which is unlocked by his thumbprint, and leads him to the first clue to Inferno, which is a virus which Ben Foster's character has created to try and save the world by decimating its population.
Yeah.
So, there's not any talk about science versus religion here.
Nope.
There's not really anything of any intellectual weight whatsoever in this one.
I suppose you could say that it's the idea of or the idea that how do we curb the population growth to save the planet would be an idea that this film could pertain to explore, but it doesn't. It doesn't explore that. It doesn't. It kind of is about that, but it doesn't explore the politics or the ideas or the anything to do with
it. No. Also by far the shortest of the
it's
films,
under 2 hours.
Just under 2 hours. So
yeah.
This kind of just feels like contractual obligation to me, to be honest with you. It just kind of feels like no one had any real passion for it. I mean, I'm intrigued to see what you think, but yeah, it kind of feels like one of the most unnecessary in a year where it kind of feels like unnecessary franchise installments have been a thing. This kind of feels like a high/low light delete as appropriate for me. I mean, what did you think?
Well, we are all spoilers all the time, right? Right. Now, there's a twist within this movie, as of course that there would be a twist in this movie. What I will say about that is there's a moment where there's something happens, and my brain said to me, in my brain just said, yeah, there's no fucking way that Ben Foster's suit is going to fit fucking Tom Hanks. That's just stupid.
That's a really good point.
And that was when she gave him the suit. So that is as early as I thought. So she's
really?
in love with.
Really? Shit, that early on, eh?
That was at that moment where I thought, when she said a suit, she said, "Oh, you know, who's that? You know, oh, it's me. Who's there? Do they live here?" And I thought, there's no fucking way Ben Foster's suit's fitting Tom Hanks. He's like 6'1", and he's like, what, 5'8", maybe, at a push. And I actually thought in my brain, that is quite literally like me wearing a suit you'd wear.
That's a fair point.
And that suit fits him and looks quite good.
Yeah, no, it does.
So I didn't think that. But, again, it's... Yeah, right. This film has been fucking panned by people.
Yeah.
By a lot of people. Yet, I saw it with a lot of people. And as I was coming out, I heard a lot of people, and the general consensus from the lot of people I saw it with at a 11:20 on a Sunday morning screening was alright, that, yeah. Right? No one was going, that was amazing. No one was going, that was crap. Everyone was going, that was alright. Everyone left seemingly going, do you know what? I'm happy I spent my early Sunday afternoon watching that, right? And during like the first hour, there's some, you know, yes, the story is, to use one of your terms, Ian, is bobbins. It is. But there's some interesting or some nice looking visuals within that as well. And I was sat there thinking, do you know what? And this was, by the way, only in the first hour. Didn't continue throughout it. But in the first hour, I was thinking, let's say this is the same film. It's the same story, but it's not Tom Hanks. It's still Felicity Jones, but it's not Tom Hanks. Let's say it's Brian Cox. And it's directed not by Ron Howard, it's directed by Philip Ridley. People would be giving this film a lot more fucking slack, I'd say. And then it does descend into just being more of a Robert Langdon movie as it goes on, and it just becomes about running from this place to this place to this place to this place, but without kind of some of the interestingness that the Da Vinci Code had and the impending doom that sort of Angels and Demons had. But again, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have as much fun with this as I did with Angels and Demons, and I think it's probably only comparable to Da Vinci Code in my mind quality-wise, just because it's a hell of a lot shorter. The thing is,
it's flimsier.
God, yeah, it is. The thing is, I like Robert Langdon as a character, and I like Hanks in it. And because of the memory loss thing, he's not quite him for a good long while of the film.
No, which
I think hurts it. You know.
It does hurt it, and I think the fact that it hurts it, and it's only kept on track by the fact that Felicity Jones is an incredibly charismatic presence on screen.
Yeah, no, totally.
She's a lovely presence to spend time with, and that's not just because she's lovely to look at. She's charming as an actress, and you know she plays it quite well. I think she's a good actress. I think that's nice. The fact is that she seems to have a lot more about her than the previous two young female companions that he has in the first two.
That's fair. I mean, I really enjoy how batshit the premise is that Ben Foster wants this virus to be unleashed.
Oh, yeah.
So, why not make it easy for yourself, bud?
Yeah, why don't you fucking unleash it?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like,
is a little bit like that.
Instead, it's like I've made a trail for you. It's like, why?
I've made a trail for you to find it and to make sure it happens. But then wait a minute. There, just a second, Bertie. The problem with that is, could somebody also find that and make sure it doesn't happen? No. Oh fuck. Oh, I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah. No.
It is a little bit like that. It doesn't kind of make sense, does it? Because why does he make it? I'm guessing he makes it, and then he comes up with the idea of how to dispense it and get it out there. Why does he go to disappear for 2 years? Why does he kill himself when it's already been planted? Why don't you just go, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to tell you, it's wrong and die in 2 days anyway.
It's just... Yeah,
I mean, the end of the book's different.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, the ending of the book, it sounds quite interesting.
Dark. Yeah.
I mean, maybe let's not talk about that here. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that would have been ballsy, but it would have been completely tonally not in keeping with these films.
Yeah.
So, fair enough. Yeah. But that's the bit. I mean, so Langdon is just going, I don't understand for about the first act. And then... Yeah,
and then it literally gets his shit together.
And then, he starts getting his shit together. But it's like, I think they could have played more with the, you won't be able to believe what you see kind of thing. And the only way they bring that in is where at first he's like, oh yeah, Omar Sy was the guy who approached me. And then a minute later he's like, no, he wasn't. Okay, great. I mean, and also, I've got to say, if Felicity Jones wanted Tom Hanks to help her, it's really giving him short-term memory loss the right way of going about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think there could have been other ways of doing it. So, yeah, I don't know. It was weird that Ben Foster was in that role as well. Like, it kind of feels like he's a bit more of a picky actor than, I'll turn up for 10 minutes in a Robert Langdon film.
But I think it was. I don't know. He's a strange one. He does feel like that, but he does crop up in kind of things like this every now and again. He's in Warcraft, and then he's in this, and you throw back. He was in stuff like, The Mechanic and things like that.
He was in those films. I mean, he's a glorified cameo here. Like, I'm kind of surprised it wasn't and Ben Foster.
Yeah, it is. But I think maybe, as strange as it is, I think maybe it's possibly because he's a recognisable face, and he is. People might not know who he is, but they will recognise him. But also as well, it gets people like us going, that's weird. What's Ben Foster doing in that?
True.
Because, Ben Foster is that type of actor.
But I don't know. I mean, they don't even play the Robert Langdon theme until, I can't stress how much I like that theme.
It is a nice theme.
But they don't even play that until, I think, the scene with the mask is the first time you kind of hear it, and I think it rears up again towards the end. Also, I said this to you on WhatsApp, and that just reminded me about the mask. The most hilariously dumb final scene, and it's a kind of a trend through this film where Robert Langdon is a figure of suspicion for a lot of this film. He is able to freely roam around places, very, very easily, considering he's on lists and stuff. And the scene at the end where he is the guy who stole the mask.
Yeah, he's not suspected of that. He is that, and they have proof.
And yet, he's able to just put it back and have a cheeky little, you should put the lights
grin
on
at himself.
There. I mean, it's just it's just, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And the thing is, that kind of, it is a little bit like, you do feel like saying to Ron, These are the things, Ron. These are the things that give people the ammunition.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, these are such weird films in Ron Howard's filmography. I don't know. It kind of feels like him and Hanks just had a third one in their contracts that Sony could exercise the rights to like pull them into it,
Well,
and it was just like
no, apparently not. Apparently the idea was that they're signed up, I think, for 4.
God, really?
So they are signed up for another one. Yeah, but this was they were signed up for this, but as long as it got made before a certain time,
okay.
Because the book didn't come out until 2013.
Yeah.
But it had to get made, I think, before that, and then it lapsed. But Ron Howard and Tom Hanks kind of had a conversation about it, and Tom Hanks said, "You know what? I actually really quite enjoyed playing the character. You know, I had fun with it. And you know, Tom Hanks has got 2 Oscars and has got a lot of money. He doesn't need to do stuff that he doesn't want to do now. He just does whatever he wants, essentially. And I think it was a little bit like he's thought, do you know what? Why not?
Good for him. Yeah, I mean, fair enough then. Good for him. I don't know. It felt unnecessary. I will say, highlight the film Irfan Khan. He's a fucking beast in this film. Like,
yeah, it's a great scene when he's trying to stage Omar Sy's death.
Yeah.
After he's standing, and he just sort of looks up and says, "Sorry about that. Oh, you got to pull it out quickly before it, you know." And then he's wandering around trying to find something to hit him with.
Yeah.
And he just goes, "Just remember to turn around for a second." And he goes, "Yeah, well, it's not our best work, but you know it'll do for the Italians."
Yeah, that was a good line. It's just.
And then when those 2 Turkish guys try to attack him, and it's almost like, really, you're gonna try and do this to me? I will fuck you up.
Yeah. I don't know. Like,
I want to see more films of him.
So do I. I really do. I love how it's just like when he's with Sidse Babette Nidsen or Babette Sidse Newson, whichever way it is, and she's like, "So you've been undermining my efforts for years, blah 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 blah," and he's like, "Yeah."
Sorry about that. He literally does just say to her, "Yeah, I have." So
I just like
that's what it's going to do. I'm sorry about that, but you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I love it. Like when he because the thing is, like the trailers kind of almost make it seem like he's in on it and he's a bad guy. But then when he sees that tape and it's him and his assistant, he's just like, "Well, I've got to clean up this fuck up now." And
Yeah, it literally is. Oh, we fucked up here, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't know. His character feels like he's from a completely different film, and he's brilliant.
Yeah. But I'd like to watch it. I'd like to watch another film that he's doing. Maybe not like it's not one that he's the main character in, but I want more of him.
Totally.
Because I think it makes sense that Irfan Khan, again, he's another really great screen presence.
Absolutely.
You know, he's a wonderfully fun and playful screen presence that, you know, and he happens to be, you know, a very good actor, but it's, yeah, he's a lot of fun in this. But the problem is, I think, once Felicity Jones, once she closes that thing on Tom Hanks, and the reveal is there, her character just goes from being interesting to... And it's a bit of a shame, that, really.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it was actually. I thought it was pretty obvious what was happening with her character as well. It just like the whole way that she's really interested in Dante, and it's like that's a coincidence. And
too much of this.
God, the scene in her apartment earlier on where she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm interested in Dante," gives a bit of exposition to Tom Hanks. And then Tom Hanks is like, "Oh yes, and then just like expositions back at her, and it's like, right, you've got 2 people who both know the background of what each other are talking about, and yet they're still insisting on telling each other. Like when she is giving exposition to him, it's just like, in what world is this conversation actually happening? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it's silly, but it doesn't look as good. The fact it was in a different aspect ratio bothered the fuck out of me. Like, you know,
Same cinematographer.
yeah, same cinematographer, but like,
Same director.
yeah, I wonder if that was a kind of a statement of we're being a bit more trashy here, you know, almost subliminally or something. But I mean,
Maybe,
the score's not as interesting. Even little things like the fact that the directed by, written by, blah blah are in the opening credits, not the ending, and you know, you don't really have the chance to kind of revel in the Robert Langdon theme, which if I didn't mention before, I love. I like. I know I mentioned that before. I'm a fan. I don't know. It feels like a completely unnecessary installment, which will make its money back and make a profit, and no one will ever talk about it again.
No, and the thing is, there's another Robert Langdon book coming out next year. And you get the feeling that if that book's a success and this movie's a success, that in 2 years' time they might all sit round and go, fuck it, let's do it.
And I will watch it.
And I will watch it, yeah. But it wouldn't surprise you if they did that, because, you know, Hanks seems like he enjoys the character. If he didn't, he just wouldn't have done this movie. And, you know, Ron Howard, I think, will look at it and go, do you know what? I've got surefire hits with these movies. You know, for Imagine Entertainment, you know, in 3 movies, they've made, you know, what will be, you know, 1.5 billion, probably.
Yeah.
By the time all 3 have been finished. That's not bad. You know, that's not bad for Imagine Entertainment, really, is it?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I am definitely shit on this because it's not a good film, and I didn't have as much fun with it.
Yes, where am I? Am I definitely not shit, or am I touching cloth? Do you know what? I think I'd actually put myself as touching cloth, but would I watch it again? Yeah. I probably will. So, am I more? And I'm not saying I'll watch it again to just sort of see where I sit on it. I'll watch it again out of entertainment. So I think that pushes me closer to definitely not shit.
Okay. I don't think I would. That's the thing. The other 2 I could totally see myself watching again. Particularly Angels and Demons, but no. That.
Yeah, I'd probably definitely rewatch them all, and I'd probably rewatch Inferno before I'd rewatch Da Vinci Code.
Fair enough. Okay.
So part, I'll be honest, part of that is because it's 25 minutes shorter. Yeah. But yeah, definitely not shit. 25%, touching cloth 17%, and shit 58%.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Which fair enough on that.
Okay, so there's no emails. We do have some Twitter something or other, though, don't we?
We have a question, yes.
Do you have it?
Yes, I do. Steve Dixon at the Great SD. Seeing Psycho 2 when I was about 9 haunted me for years. What films messed you up as kids?
Post-credits bit of Masters of the Universe where Skeletor comes out of the thing and says, "I'll be back." Fucking.
Oh, nice.
I genuinely, I still wouldn't watch that.
What messed me up as a kid?
Actually, do you know what? I'm going to watch it now.
I remember fucking being really fucking quite shaken up by watching fucking Awakenings.
Awakenings, really? Oh,
yeah.
Fucking hell, man. You see, sorry, I'm just watching it on YouTube now. Fuck. Like, his face. It's his face, man. It's fucking creepy. Right, he's coming out now. Oh, fuck that noise.
Of the Universe. Master of the Universe, the film.
Just Masters of the Universe post-credits. That's all you need on YouTube.
Oh, no, I know the saying, yeah.
Oh.
I think Master of the Universe was the first film I ever saw at the cinema.
Really? Wow.
I'm sure it was, yeah. Yeah, it was. I was in 5.
Oh, don't like it. It's actually got my heart beating a bit.
Yeah, Awakenings shook me up because it made me look at it and go, oh my fucking god. Imagine if that happened to you.
That's
so yeah, I think I was about 10 when I watched that.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I know. It's a fucking heavy film to watch when you're like 10. But yeah, I've been fucking terrified of getting like a mental fucking illness that left me fucking just unable to fucking, what is it? Unable to function normal life.
Yeah.
yeah, so that was it, Awakening.
Nice.
I don't know, I have watched it since.
You have?
I haven't watched it since, no. I will not watch Awakening because it still freaks me out.
Oh.
But yeah, Master of the Universe was the first film I saw at the cinema.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was a good choice.
I'm yellow.
Oh, fucking hell. Don't like that. Right, anyway. Jesus Christ. Right, next week, Jack Reacher Never Go Back.
Jack Reacher Around. Nice! I'm so looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped, man. I'm going to rewatch the first one, and I'm going to...
I watched it not too long back.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying. Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it. Why not?
Yeah, that's exactly what I am. I really enjoyed the first. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Sweet. So same. Jack Reacher Never Go Back. I need a wee and I need to go and be a dad. So at Ian Loring, at Dude Foz, at Dude and the Monkey at gmail.com, and hope you enjoyed the show and we'll speak to you next week.